afternoon. I'm going to talk about something that's kind of an eclectic topic. It's kind of the practice of giving yourself voluntary hallucinations, and you can use it for any of the five senses, although I've actually never used it for anything other than the sense of sight. Also, by the way, do you like my rainbow light devices back here? One's a clock and one is just a light. I love them. I absolutely love them. Okay. There are a couple of different exercises. Oh, so this technique is called imposition by the tulpamancy community, but really anyone can use it. The psionics community, which I don't think exists anymore, but they used to believe that you could like create psychic powers within yourself and you could control the elements. But they also taught this and gave it a mystical attribution. They thought you were creating like psychic energy. I don't believe that. But if you believe that, that can be fun. Some people do. I mean, this works regardless of whether or not you believe it does anything mystical. They can use this to see auras, regardless of whether or not you believe that auras are real or do anything. I have synesthesia. I have both projective and associative synesthesia, which means that different ideas and concepts and really everything related to perception and experience produces these very strong and consistent internal and sometimes external experiences for me. So when I'm hypomanic or manic, I see my perception of someone else around them as an aura, and there are very consistent associations for me. I just, for instance, I see mentorly people as this very orange presence within me, and then sometimes I actually see it as an aura around people. So for me, it maps on very clearly to whenever people are like, what does an aura mean? And what do the colors mean? It's like, I don't think it has a set meaning. I mean, I think there's some relationship to cultural values, and but I think at the end of the day, it's just an individual analysis. I mean, when you look at the color red, what does it make you think of? When you put that color in the context that you're looking at, like in the relationship, like within the context of yourself, who you are as a person, your relationships, what does red mean then? And then you look at the automatic associations that turn on in the back of your head and you analyze them. And that's really all there is to analysis. It's really something that's very personal, not really something you make a list of, but so aura sight's really just a form of synesthesia. It's a psychological construct. I don't know what happens if you learn synesthesia with my technique and you don't naturally have it. For me, it maps on very clearly to how I see people, but so I don't know if it has some other meaning if you learn it unnaturally. I think synesthesia is supposed to be something that you naturally have or not. But anyway, other people have tried this technique and told me that they can also see auras now, but only if they like stare for like a minute, but it worked for them. For me, sometimes it's automatic. Other times, I just use this technique and after like 5 seconds, I can see it. Okay, so how do you give yourself voluntary hallucinations? How do you impose what's inside your mind outside of your mind? And why would you want to do this? Well, the answer to that is it's fun, and it's fun to screw around with your mind. You can do whatever you want with it. So that's my big answer to that. But so how do you do this? I have a couple of very specific exercises that should very quickly teach you how to do this. Okay, the first is to look at clouds. Right? Why clouds? So clouds are an ambiguous stimulus, and when you look at them, your eyes aren't quite sure what to make of them because they're so multi-textured and there are so many different features to them that are constantly shifting because clouds move so fast up in the sky. So you'll see all these different crazy shapes. So the first exercise is to just take 10 or 20 minutes for maybe like a week or two to look at the clouds and just consciously try to change what you see. So maybe you start out seeing Abraham Lincoln. Try to see if you can see a completely different thing. Especially a thing that does not look at all like Abraham Lincoln or like the cloud itself. So try to like screw up what you're seeing into what you want. Like, I don't know, a saber-toothed tiger. All right, so that's the first exercise. The second exercise is to hallucinate a line between 2 points. And it can take like 10 to 30 minutes of you just staring before your vision gives up and starts putting like what you are thinking into your vision, which is basically what happens. But so you can use your 2 fingers, you can draw 2 lines on a piece of paper, whatever. just look between the 2 points and just try to visualize a blue line between them and just stare at it for 10 to 20 minutes. Eventually, the part of your brain that processes visual information becomes fatigued and it becomes more amenable to suggestion. Okay, so that's exercise 2. Exercise 3 is something that people call scrying, which means that when they watch. Okay, so basically what you do is you meditate on your reflection in the mirror and you just stare at your face. We have specialized areas in the brain called the fusiform face gyrus and a couple other areas that are dedicated to processing language as well as to processing facial expression and faces and remembering distinct ones. Anyway, so that becomes fatigued and you begin hallucinating weird things on your face, or theoretically someone else's face if you just stared at it. So in scrying, people try to look at what their automatic association is in their mind to see if anything like mystical or whatever pops out. So that's how you do scrying. But in terms of voluntary hallucinations, just try to screw up what you're seeing happen to your face. Like try to turn it pink, try to make it look more cat-like, try to change how the hallucination, the form the hallucination takes. Okay. The next one is the Cyball. This people who do the psychic thing love the Cyball because what you do is you just basically like visualize energy flowing through your hand into like an orange or a rainbow ball, and you can like give it different textures and stuff. And then you just stare at your hand and do this a bunch of times until you start seeing, like, for me it started looking like little sparks, but you start seeing what you're visualizing in your hand if you do it for long enough. So that's another one. And then this gets to aura sight. Oh, and yeah, so my last exercise in terms of voluntary hallucinations not related to auras is now you can kind of build objects. I think my sister's trying to get in. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm about to let you in. My sister's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to my sister. Okay, so anyway, for this last one, you can just sort of stare at a neutral background. Well, you can do it with any background, but it's easier with neutral backgrounds like a white background. And just, it takes like 20 minutes to start tricking your mind, but start like imagining like a simple shape, like a sphere. Then start trying to draw things. Like think of the fundamentals of drawing. Like what does a head look like? You have to put in the nose, the eyes, different hair colors, different textures, different poses, and then you can like make them move. You can make a dragon. That's fun. Okay, and then for aura sight, all you do is you look at your hand or like the outline of your body, maybe in a mirror, maybe not. A neutral background helps, and again, you just wait 10 to 15 minutes, probably less. For me, it's like 10 seconds, and then you'll start seeing colors. And the longer you like stare, the larger and like more detailed the aura becomes. And that's all there is to aura sight. And now you can make yourself hallucinate visually. Something you've always wanted to do, right? So useful. Take care.